Welcome to Breaking Down Sustainability, and in this episode, we'll be breaking down KCB Sustainability Report for the period 1st January to 31st December 2024. Notably, from this episode onward, we'll be using a 7-pillar framework to assess the sustainability reports that we'll be breaking down, which framework consists of the reporting framework and compliance thereof, the governance and strategic integration, the materiality and stakeholder credibility, environmental stewardship, social impact and inclusion, metrics, targets and assurance, and digital trust in data governance. So the first pillar being on reporting framework and compliance thereof, the KCB's report begins by highlighting the scope and the reporting boundary. As highlighted, it covers the period from 1st January to 31st December 2024. Further, they have highlighted the reporting framework which they aligned to, which is the ISSB, IFRS S1 and S2. As has been pointed out before, we are moving towards mandatory IFRS reporting. So organizations are beginning to align their sustainability reporting to this particular reporting. And KCB also points out that though they are not fully aligned, they have also begun the steps to ensuring that they are actually moving in that direction. So onwards, they have also highlighted the sustainability highlight for the year under report, and some of the noteworthy items under the sustainability highlights include that they were able to verify up to 24.1 billion on green loans. Also, they note that their financing portfolio is made up of 21% of green finance, which goes to show that they're actually working towards environmental stewardship. On social stewardship, they note that they participated. There is up to 9,600 youth who participated in program training. They also note some of what they were able to do as regards their programs, including KCB Scholars Program, Mifugo ni Mali, Tujiajiri Program. On governance, they've highlighted that 36% of the board is made up of women, which is not the best, but is an indication that they're actually willing to move in a direction whereby there is even balance of both genders. They've also highlighted that they were the best institution in ESG reporting at the Kenya ESG Award. And honestly, by going through the report, you can see why they were chosen as the best ESG reporting organization. Their report is actually quite comprehensive. It is easily understandable. Once you go through it, you can actually understand what it is that they are reporting. The language is not very big. The language is actually concise. Further, it also ticks most of the pillars in our breaking down sustainability reporting framework, our rating framework for the sustainability reports that we are assessing. So they've highlighted that the framework is also for the report covers both the group and the subsidiaries. And by going through the report, you see that they report on the group, then they actually give information that regard individual subsidiaries. For example, also on sustainability highlight, they pointed out the highlight on the particular subsidiaries. And in Kenya, they note that 69 million was approved for as Green Climate Fund. They also note that they were able to plant over 1.3 million trees. They also note that they trained up to 900,000 youths and that there were 800,000 jobs created. So you see the reporting framework actually has sufficient depth. It covers both the group and the subsidiaries, whereas some organizations only report for the group or only report for a particular subsidiary. And you find that in such kind of reporting, a lot of things are missed. But whereby the reporting is actually deep, such that it has both the group and the subsidiary, then we are actually moving in the right direction, which is what KCB were able to do in the reporting, even as they highlight some of the things that they were able to do as regards sustainability. They've also pointed out the awards that they were able to give. They then had leadership statements from both the chairman and from the CEO, as has been pointed out in earlier episodes. This shows the independence of the two offices. Though they may be interdependent, they need to be independent so that the organization is actually run in a more sustainable manner. That the organization is actually run in a way that benefits its stakeholders. The next section is on the sustainability approach that the organization takes, which is on pillar 2 on our BDS rating. They've first highlighted the KCB strategy, then they've highlighted how the strategy aligns to how their sustainability strategy aligns to the core strategy, which organizations are being encouraged to do. So as to ensure that sustainability is a part of the organization, you need to integrate the same into your core strategy and not just a subsidiary consideration. They then note that KCB Sustainability Framework is aligned to UNEP's finance principles of responsible banking. So they have given an impact analysis of the various impact and quantifiable outcomes for the impact, including availability, accessibility, affordability and quality of resources and services, biodiversity and healthy ecosystems, equality and justice, livelihood, among others. They've also highlighted individual country perspectives for the impact have been noted, and also highlighted how they are aligned to the various UN SDGs. They note that they have adopted 13 of the 17 UN SDGs, and they've given a breakdown of how said SDGs are actually impacted in the various subsidiaries, not just the group adoption, but how also they are being adopted in the various subsidiaries whereby they are represented. The report then goes on to highlight the sustainability and climate-related material issues, which aligns to our BDS rating framework in that the pillar 3 is on materiality and stakeholder engagement. So KCB notes that they have 5 material issues, including employee wellness, environmental stewardship, digital leadership, community action, and customer excellence. And the reporting is unique in the way that in every material issue, they have noted to point out the strategic intervention as regards that material issue, the metrics and targets for that particular issue, the risk management approaches, and the governance oversight that they are exercising over that particular issue. They then go ahead to highlight that their report follows the double materiality framework, whereby they highlight both the financial materiality and the impact materiality. As pointed out, their material issues highlights their strategic interventions, their metrics and targets, their governance oversight. So on employee wellness, they highlighted some of the strategic interventions that they were able to undertake. They also highlighted some of the metrics and targets that they have as regards employee wellness. They've also highlighted, they give a case study. The report also gives a case study of one of the employees, what they were able to do. They've also pointed out the metrics and targets, highlighting the diversity of their workforce, the number of promotions, the number of female employees, the age demographics. They've also highlighted the governance oversight, as pointed out, and the risk management approaches. On governance oversight, they highlight some of the policies that they have put in place to ensure that this particular material issue is actually well overseen. On environmental stewardship, which aligns to pillar 4 in our BDS rating framework, they've gone on to highlight what they were able to achieve in the various subsidiaries and the various branches that they have. They've also highlighted risk management, the emissions, the electricity and water consumption, the waste management, their tree planting and growing initiatives. They've also pointed out their metrics and targets, noting that they have screened a total of over 1 trillion in loans for environmental and social risks in 2024. So you can see that KCB is an institutional leader as concerns environmental stewardship, which is the 4th pillar on BDS rating. So As we are going through down the pillars, KCB are actually ticking off most of these considerations, which is why, as pointed out, to understand why they were ranked as the best organization as regards ESG reporting. They've also highlighted some of the nature-related risk management that they are able to do. On digital leadership, they have pointed their strategic initiatives, including integrating cybersecurity. As we know, data is a key concern for majority of Kenyans. The Data Protection Office is bearing down strongly on organizations, also those that are handling large volumes of data. And banks are among the leading organizations that work with people's data. So it is important for them to ensure that they have put in place cybersecurity measures and data governance measures that are well aligned to international standards. So KCB has actually put in place some of these measures. They're actually doing quite admirably as regards this area. They've also pointed out some of the trade-offs that they are considering so as to ensure that the cybersecurity is top-notch. They've also pointed out some of their metrics and targets as regards cybersecurity and as regards digital leadership. They've also pointed out, they've also given some of the case studies for what they're actually doing, and also noted their risk management approach for digital leadership. Then the fourth material issue was community action. KCB has noted the strategic priorities as regards community action, which includes enterprise development, education, and social impact. They've given some of the case studies as regards to Jiajiri and their KCB scholarship programs. They've also highlighted the metrics and targets of what they're hoping to achieve as regards community action and their risk management approach for this particular material issue. Then they've also pointed out what they are doing as regards diversity and inclusion impact, what they're able to do as regards skills training, scholarships, and finally they've given the governance oversight of the foundation. So they've given the foundation board and how they offer strategic oversight. They've also highlighted the group's executive committee and how the group's executive committee also offers strategic alignment and integration. Then they pointed out the operational leadership of the foundation, while also highlighting some of the governance principles that they are following and how the same has been applied in the group. The fifth material issue was on customer excellence. So, as has been the pattern, they first highlight the strategic integration of what they are able to do as regards customer excellence, including enhancing accessibility across their platforms, empowering through financial literacy, product innovations. Then they go ahead to highlight the metrics and targets that they have in place. They also point out their risk management as regards customer excellence, and also point out their complaint resolution. Their complaint resolution is calculated, is assessed by the number of days. So they note that the group average is 1.4 days to resolve any customer issues. They've also highlighted what they're able to do as regards governance, including their customer excellence policy, their data protection and privacy policy, their social media policy. As noted, the Data Protection Office is bearing down heavily on organizations, so it is important for organizations to actually have a data protection policy so as to ensure they are on the right side of the Data Protection Commissioner. The next section in the report is on stakeholder engagement. They point out the stakeholders that they were able to engage, including the customers, the employees, the suppliers, the investors. So they note how they engaged these particular stakeholders, what key topics they raised, the feedback that they received, and how the group actually responded to these various engagements. They also point out the value that they were able to create for the mentioned stakeholders, including the employees, the government, the shareholders, and the social capital that they were able to create in the reporting period. Then, for purposes of transparency, they've also given their tax approach noting the tax that they paid, the group total tax that they paid in the year, which was an increment from 2023. In 2023, they paid 35.7 billion in taxes, while in 2024 they paid 40.4 billion in taxes. So you see, they are actually responsible citizens. They ensure that their taxes are paid, and for purposes of transparency, they actually highlight these taxes that they paid. They've also given their outlook for 2025. What is it exactly they are looking to do as regards ESG for 2025? So they've noted the initiatives that they have, including the Green Climate Fund, the environmental and social due diligence, the SDG dashboard, sustainability communication. So basically the initiatives that they have in mind to undertake in 2025, and how exactly they are hoping to do this. So you can see that they are hoping to develop a climate risk policy, also hoping to achieve 25% of the loan portfolio dedicated to green lending. As pointed out, currently it's at 21%. So they are hoping in 2025 they will be able to get to 25%. Then the report goes on to the appendices, whereby the limited assurance by Deloitte is actually, the full statement is shared, whereby Deloitte notes that the assurance is actually only limited to a number of key performance indicators and not the entire report. I think it is actually better if KCB work towards having a full assurance rather than a limited assurance, whereby the investors and other stakeholders will feel more confident that the entire report is actually has an external assurance rather than it being only a limited assurance. So maybe this is something that KCB need to look into. The report goes on to highlight some of the gap assessment, what they were able to find as their gaps, and also highlights what they are looking to do so as to fill some of these gaps that they were able to note during the gap assessment. Then they also point out the IFRS adoption roadmap. As pointed out, we are moving towards mandatory IFRS reporting, mandatory IFRS sustainability reporting. So they've pointed out the adoption roadmap for this particular reporting. Finally, they've given a checklist for ISSB for the IFRS reporting, and the UN principles for responsible banking. All in all, it was a good sustainability report. It is quite comprehensive. It covers all the key pillars on BDS rating framework. As pointed out at the beginning of the episode, they actually were awarded as the best ESG reporting at the Kenya ESG Awards. And I will second that, because by going through this report, you can see that it is actually a very good report, and it actually covers most of the areas that they ought to have covered. Although they could definitely do better, it's not that they have achieved 100% of the IFRS adoption. So as they move towards 100% of IFRS adoption, they can look into making the report more in-depth. Other areas they could look to improve on include on how they are presenting their data. For example, in the number of employees and the increment, they are only giving hard numbers. It would be more comprehensible if they actually give ratios or percentages, so that we are able to understand the year-on-year improvement and the diversity and inclusion. Further, they can also improve on highlighting the actual members of the board. Yes, they highlight that the board is made up of 36% female leadership. We would like to see who are these female leaders, who are they, who are the male leaders, who is the chairman, who is an independent board member. Also, they should showcase the skills mix of the board. What is the mix of skills in the board? What areas of expertise do the board members bring? Because these are the things that actually give investors the confidence to put their finances into an organization. If they are seeing the board has a nice skills mix, they believe that the organization is going to be run in a more effective manner. Also, it will be better if KCB actually had a dedicated sustainability committee or a dedicated sustainability executive. There are various ways of actually dedicating sustainability and embedding it better into their strategy. I believe as it is now, they have made it as a subcommittee in their risk committee. However, by having it as its own separate subcommittee, as its own separate committee, or by having a dedicated sustainability executive, then they could be able to embed sustainability better into their strategy. As other organizations are also moving towards the IFRS reporting, they can also look to copy from what KCB are doing, because if they are being awarded for being the best in ESG reporting, then definitely they are the trailblazers, and they are the people who we should be looking at, so as to ensure also our reports are actually aligned to international standards. Looking forward to the next episode, where we'll be breaking down Britham's Sustainability Report, which was actually reported through the GRI framework. We have been focused a lot on the IFRS framework. Now let us go and look at what the GRI framework actually provides.